Aging Matters on BCTV is supported by the Berks County Area Agency on Aging.
Hello, and welcome to Aging Matters. This is a show that is provided by and sponsored by the Berks County Area Agency on Aging. My name is Ann Barlet, and I'm the Public Advocacy and Outreach Manager for the agency and the host of Aging Matters. I wanted to start off today with our topic that's, I think, going to be a very interesting topic for everybody, and it's on assistive technology for those that are hard of hearing or hearing impaired. And a little research or a little information prior to introducing my guest, because it's something that's interesting to me with the experience that I've had, but nearly 50 million Americans suffer from hearing loss. And of course, this figure is expected to double by 2030, which is not that far along anymore. Among those challenges, those with hearing loss face speaking on the telephone can be one of the most intimidating and frustrating. And I can imagine, I know that in some cases, some of our folks in the pandemic in particular, we were all in our homes and isolated. And imagine if you also had difficulty hearing and couldn't keep a good conversation, you might retreat. And that's not what we want. So we're going to talk about how that frustrates yourself, family and friends. And I have a little personal story. I might be one of those 50 million Americans plus in the next couple of years with some of the experiences I've had. I also work at Santander Arena, and we've got a lot of loud concerts and shows that come in, and over time I'm sure that I've got some hearing loss and in the next couple of years maybe some more. So we do have a solution to that for some of us who are already in that hearing issue problem, and we'll see what we can learn from some of the technology that my guest has brought to us today. So without further ado, I want to welcome Amy Strawser, and she is the Pennsylvania Relay Community Outreach Coordinator. So thank you for being with me today, Amy. I'm excited to talk about your products and what it offers for those people with some hearing loss. These are captioned telephones, from what I understand, and we have two items here on the table with us that I know we're going to talk about and do some demonstration. So I guess looking at the two, let's just start with, we talked about captioned telephone. So tell me what that is.
Sure, and thanks for having me here today, Ann. It's a real pleasure to be able to share this information with the community so they can learn about some of the options available. If they're having difficulty hearing on the phone or have a family member or friend who might be having that issue, there are some solutions. So what I brought along with us here today, these are two caption telephones. This is a 2400i cap telephone. This is an 840i cap telephone. These are designed for someone who has hearing loss so that they're able to listen along to the conversation and read the conversation on this large, bright display screen. So they can read along, and sometimes someone who is hard of hearing might miss a word or two in the conversation. So this allows for somebody to be able to read the conversation as they're listening. So that can build confidence in making telephone calls for someone who might have difficulty hearing.
You know, I think of people that we have to outreach all the time for, you know, our world, we have to call Social Security, you know, or some of the other key places, our banks, things like that, that it can be very difficult for somebody to decide that they have to reach out. There's also prompts. You know, sometimes you can't reach a person, so it requires you to dial a number with a prompt for another extension or a number, and I think reading it will help support that they're on track, they've got it, they're following the steps to reach out to those that, you know, are necessary outreaches in terms of what we have to do every day.
Yes, exactly. That is why this technology is available for those who do have difficulty hearing, to build that confidence, to be able to make those phone calls, and to increase independence so that they don't have to rely on somebody else to make phone calls for them. So
Absolutely.
this can be a good solution for someone in that situation.
So can you tell me, I see a lot of buttons too. Are there certain features, or can we kind of look at or walk through one or both of these to share?
So I'll explain each one. They both function in the same way.
Okay.
They look a little bit different, and there are some minor differences. So someone that is selecting either one of these phones, it is just a personal choice which one you might like. For instance, this one here, the larger one, this is Bluetooth, has Bluetooth capability. So if somebody has a hearing aid, they can connect the hearing aid directly to the phone and be hands-free and talk, through that the Bluetooth device.
Okay.
So they could hear what's happening through Bluetooth, and then there's a speaker on here to do that as well. This is touch screen. As you can see, the screen's a little bit larger. With both of these, you can adjust the background color to whatever visually is more either appealing or helpful. The font size and color can be adjusted. And one of the features I hear from those who have used caption phones that is really helpful is a built-in answering machine that is also captioned. So the messages are captioned as well.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's really helpful. And one final feature I'll point out is you can save the conversation. So if you you want to go back and scroll through a conversation to get a phone number or an appointment date, the prior messages are stored in the phone, and you can go back and look through those.
Is there a time frame? How long is that stored, or
I think
must you delete them as you go, so it only stores so many messages?
Correct. It only stores so many. So it will get full and then delete and then store others. But it has a pretty good capacity for storage.
Okay. So I guess I would just ask, can we do any kind of demonstration, or do I just pick up and it's set to go, or do I hit a button?
So
I don't want to touch anything.
That's a great question.
I'll be calling all over.
Yeah,
probably.
they look really complicated,
Yes.
but I will say they're very easy to use.
Okay.
It's very much like using a standard telephone. So you would just pick up the the receiver, dial the number like you normally would. When the other person answers, their side of the conversation will
just
display.
automatically comes up.
Automatically is real
So they
time.
don't need anything.
They don't need anything.
Okay.
Their conversation on that end is going to be, it will flow just as it would on a standard traditional phone.
Okay.
So it looks intimidating, but it is actually very simple. And in order to adjust like color or font, you can just press. You'll get a guide when you get the phone.
Okay.
And it'll tell you like, how to change the font color, how to change the size. Now, this one, it's touch screen, so some of the buttons are right on the screen, and it makes it very convenient. This one is just the same. It does not have touchscreen capability, and it does not have Bluetooth. So if that's something that someone is interested in, I would recommend the 2400i model. So, and they both have a blue button on the front that is a customer service button.
Oh, I see that.
So if there are ever any questions, or you need some help with how to operate the phone or connect it, you press the blue button and you'll get a live customer care representative who could assist.
And so then the messages are stored almost like a normal answering machine.
Correct.
So you would see those and hit like last message, or just
Right, forward, delete.
Okay.
And it'll walk you through it. So you would just kind of connect as like a voicemail, and then it'll walk you through just like you would with a regular answering machine or voicemail service. And again, those messages will be displayed right on the screen.
Okay, interesting. I'm like blown away by, by the program. So, looking at the two models, kind of more traditional, it looks like to me, in terms of this one. They're just a normal phone jack style hookup when I'm hooking it up at home, or do I need an electrician? Or
That's a great question. It is landline, so you would plug it into your phone jack.
Okay.
And you also need internet to connect for the captions. So the
see.
listening part of the phone goes through your phone service, and the captioning service is through the internet. So you have to have those two services in order for the phone to function. But you search your Wi-Fi, you get it connected on, there's a walkthrough, it would help you, or you call customer care, they walk you through. It's not a difficult process.
Okay.
And then just like any phone, you just plug it right into the phone jack.
Okay. And so I guess what I'm thinking about is if, I'm considering the basics are the Bluetooth or maybe the space I have. This is a little bit more narrow. If I need that or I don't. Hookups are the same. So in looking at that, I'm sure in the years that you've been sharing these and talking about these, you've had some good experiences with people who have used it. Do you have anything that you can share with us as far as maybe, I don't know if there's some that would change something, or is there, what did they like about it? What experiences that if you've had, as well as what people that have had using these?
So this can sound dramatic, but it can be very life-changing for the individual using the phone, and also their friends and family who may have had difficulty communicating and worried, about their loved one because they may not have been able to communicate over the phone. And it's just a story to share. And as you had mentioned during, the pandemic, there were a lot of folks that were isolated at home and were cut off from communicating if they had difficulty communicating on the phone because of hearing loss. So I had one, sometimes family members reach out for their loved ones. And I had a granddaughter reach out to me about her 90-year-old grandmother during the pandemic, at the height of the pandemic. And she was very concerned because she wasn't able to communicate with her grandmother. And she wanted to be able to check in with her, but also wanted her grandmother to have a way to communicate if there was an emergency. So she reached out, she didn't know where to go, and she asked if we could help to obtain a caption phone for her grandmother. And we were able to assist her with that. And we actually did a training virtually with the grandmother and the granddaughter to walk them through how to operate the phone and use it. And that just gave them both peace of mind. That was a really special story, but that happened over and over again throughout that time, and it continues.
I think we just accept. Well, I can't hear, and I'm not going to call anybody, and you handle it. Isn't it marvelous or wonderful in their circumstances? Probably like a whole new world that they both felt, that person who needed it was now, again, independent and could do their own things, talk to friends, as simple as calling friends and talking to friends, to the practical side of needing it, to not being that isolated, but also that independence, and then that safety.
Yes.
That's great.
I think that's a great way to explain the need for such a thing. It's not only for emergencies or to make appointments, but that human connection and to be able to reach out to family and friends and connect is so important on so many levels.
Yep. I think of even simple things too that are daily that we take for granted. While you were talking, I don't know, for some reason it hit me, even pharmacies, if I am like renewing a prescription, or they've called and left a message saying, your script is ready.
Yeah, if you missed that, it's pretty important.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You either don't know or just keep going every day. Is it ready? Is it ready? You can't do that.
Right.
Isn't that wonderful that you're going to be able to read that, but you're also going to have that message that you can check back on it. to say, oh, yes, it's ready. So I think that's wonderful.
And if somebody isn't available to get the call, the answering machine will pick that up and they'll be able to read that when they're available to get that message.
And then while we're on that, is there like a flashing note that says there was that?
Yes, there is a
Okay.
button that flashes when there's a
Okay.
message. And also this phone, this 2400i, has a flashing light when it rings as well. So if somebody has a hard time hearing and they can't hear the ring necessarily,
Oh, that's
the flashing
nice.
light is
Okay.
a backup.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. So, any particular, we have a question talking about any particular feature that seems to be better than another for customers. I like that one. So maybe I'll like that one.
Well, I think the customer service button and being able to reach a live customer care representative at any time has been a huge help to our customers, because sometimes when you have something new and you're not sure how to use it, that can
Yeah.
be really reassuring in itself, that you have somebody, knowing that somebody's there to answer questions or troubleshoot, or just be there for any concerns you have about the device.
That's great, because we hear technology, and then some of us panic, and don't really know what that means. And if there's like I'll just say a power outage or something that affects the normal electric, I get that. But when it comes back on, do they reset themselves? Does the person who's operating it have to kind of go through a resetting type of?
That's a really good question. I think if the power was out, so the phone would still work because you're on a phone jack. The captions, that is Wi-Fi, so that could be affected. If there ever is something that would need to be reset, it would display it on the screen.
Okay.
And again, you can call customer service and
Help.
have them walk you through it. Yes, that's why it's so helpful.
We had a
right?
power outage, I don't know how to use it.
Exactly.
But you can call
So,
them. Okay.
Yeah, there's a backup on here for those situations, as far as any questions or concerns, or if something comes up that's unusual that someone would need assistance with, or something, just a simple question.
Yeah.
They're
Okay.
always happy to help and be there to answer questions.
Now I'm going to the most important piece of this whole technology is cost. Everybody, it's great, but how much is it going to cost me? And that's all. Also, we all need to know what expense that is. If many questions that are asked of us in our agency about different services is any insurance cover it? Does Medicare cover it, or any other type of insurance that somebody might have? How expensive is it? What's the cost? Is it covered by anything?
Well, you're going to love the answer to this. This is provided at no cost to anybody who may need it. There is a
Wow.
national relay fund set aside for the service. The service is at no cost to anyone who has hearing loss. It's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, no fees, no subscription costs. So that is provided through the relay fund. The phones can be obtained 2 different ways, and also through the relay fund if there's a qualifying hearing loss. So there's a third-party certification form that can be accessed on our website, and you would take that to your healthcare provider. If they certify that there's any degree of hearing loss, then you qualify for the phone at no cost. So if
Wow.
someone decides they
Okay.
don't want to go through that process, you can purchase the phone for $75. That's also an option.
And is that also through the whole Pennsylvania Relay, or?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
It's
So-
only available through them.
That's right. And so you can access all of this information on our website. It will walk you through your options. Most people go through the third-party certification just because that if there's a hearing loss, they are qualified to receive the phone at no cost and the service. So that could be your medical doctor, audiologist, hearing aid professional, or VA program. So anyone
that's
from one of
good.
those professional healthcare offices could certify somebody.
Okay. They just had up, I think, the website, so perhaps that we can put that up again.
Okay.
And then I'll let you mention how they can contact you or that website to see for more information. If you want to share anything you'd like to on
Sure.
that.
So we invite anyone to visit our website. It's either parelay.net and or hamiltoncaptel.com, or our customer care number is 1-800-974-1253. And you can reach out to customer care if you have any questions or would like to know how to receive a third-party certification, or you can go on our website, parelay.net, and you can just download that information as well.
Since you mentioned that those other entities, would they also have access to any of the forms, or they would also go to the website, I assume? Like if you had an audiologist, as you mentioned, would they be able to assist, you think, or they would at least maybe help to provide the form or the application, whatever's required?
Yes, they would be able to help access the form. They may have it already in their system. If not, they would absolutely be able to access the form. And for an audiologist or a hearing healthcare professional, it's most likely they will know about caption phones. So, having that discussion would be a great starting point, and then you can go from there.
And that would be the same location for just if they just wanted to purchase, either the service and or the phone. It's the same site.
Right.
Okay.
It goes hand in hand. So once you have the phone, the service is provided. You just need the phone to access the service. So they're one and the same.
Okay.
So,
and is there a financial piece of this too for the eligibility for the cost? It's all based on the hearing loss.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, because the Relay Fund was set up as a part of the Americans with Disabilities Act, and part of that piece of legislation was that everyone should have access to phone service. So someone who's deaf, hard of hearing, deaf-blind, has difficulty speaking, should have the same access. And sometimes you need an assistive device to have access. And so this fund was set up so that everyone has telephone access in the United States.
Terrific, terrific. So I guess switching and looking at these and talking about landlines and hookups that way, we're also a world of cell phones. And that other assistive technology for some of us is equally as hard to use. But so is there anything related? Are they looking ahead, or is there something already out there that is workable, compatible with cell phones?
So we have a brand new app we just launched for mobile. It's a mobile app that you can download for free on an iPhone or an Android. And you download the app and you can get captions and the same captioning type service on your mobile device as you would with one of these devices. So that's an option. I did bring along the QR code. So, it's on the screen right now. So you can actually, if you take a picture of that, download that app, and it'll take you right through the steps of making sure you can get captions on your mobile device.
And so at least I would be able to talk and see then the screen as to what is being said. And,
that's right. Yes.
That's great.
Yeah. So
That's
you
great.
could have that on the go.
I can be really mobile. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, because that's very helpful, particularly when you're out and about. Yes. Okay. So, and then in specific with the Pennsylvania Relay and what you just talked about, are there anything else or other services? I'd hate to let you go and not know about other services that might be available to folks.
I'm really glad you asked, because Pennsylvania Relay offers a variety of different services depending on an individual's needs. We have a TTY service for someone who is deaf.
Okay.
There's a hearing carryover service.
What does that mean? A hearing carryover.
Hearing carryover is that an individual who can hear but has difficulty speaking can use a special device.
Okay.
So the hearing part of the conversation would go through, and the individual would have some assistance through a communication assistant with the voice part of the conversation. And we also have speech-to-speech, which is also designed for someone who has difficulty speaking on the phone. So the relay service is set up for someone who has difficulty hearing or speaking.
Wow.
So there's a menu of services depending on someone's needs, and those all can be found on our website as well, parelay.net, and it will go into a little more detail about those other services. And one more thing I'd like to mention is that all of these services, including the caption telephones, are available in Spanish as well.
Oh, that's great. Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes.
That's super.
So there's that option as well, if anybody
Great,
you know,
great.
need that.
I think this is a great service, and I think that we don't know enough about it, so I'm so glad that you were able to provide this information for us today. I ask that you all reach out if you didn't catch some of the information or the website for the Pennsylvania Relay, then why don't you gladly call our agency, the Berks County Area Agency on Aging, at 610-478-6500, and we'll connect you with that website so that they can head on there themselves. And I think it's great for you know, a lot of people to hear, so that if there's a lot of folks that are going into one's home, you know, whether it's family, it's friends, it's healthcare workers, you know, it's you know, people who hopefully have tuned in and are able to suggest this service, because it's certainly a wonderful service, and it's certainly a great opportunity to make it accessible for everybody. So thank you, Amy, for being here with us and sharing that information.
Thank you.
I just want to wrap up in the last minute or two that I have today to remind folks that its Summer and Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program is available. To qualify, you need to be 60 years of age or older, or will be 60 by the end of this calendar year. You also have a certain income. I'm just going to read one or two. For a one-person household, your income would have to be $25,142 or less. And for a two-person household, $33,874. And there are other criteria for more in your household that you can call our agency to get those details. One, if you meet that eligibility, the individual will receive one set of 4 checks. Each check has a value of $6 for a total of $24 that you can spend at the farmers markets. It's a program that supports the farmer and the senior. So it's open at those certain farmers markets and certain market stands that accept them. And you may be able to purchase fruits and vegetables that are grown in Pennsylvania. Certainly not any processed foods, jams, jellies, no cut fruit, things like that. Certainly can't buy a pineapple. So, but I certainly support your opportunity to get some great produce. And the program, you're able to spend these checks through November 30th. So if you would like more information, would like an application, you may call our agency again at 610-478-6500, or they are also being distributed at our senior centers in Berks County, that you can go there and show your qualifications and be able to receive those checks. So I wanted to share that information with everybody as well. And I'm going to wrap up again by thanking Amy for being here with us to talk about the caption telephones and these assisted devices that are out there and available through the Pennsylvania Relay program. And again, thank you so much for sharing this information.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
And thanks for tuning in to Aging Matters.
Aging Matters on BCTV is supported by the Berks County Area Agency on Aging.